Hi, you guys. Don't even really know what to say. I'm gonna be honest. It's been a minute since I've obviously come on here. Don't really know if there's any right way to start this video.
You may or may not be familiar with this woman. Today we're talking about Emilie Kiser, the TikTok influencer who just 4 months ago tragically lost her toddler son to drowning in their family pool. Whether this is your first time here, or if you know me for covering influencer parents like the Resilient Jenkins, Megan Gower, or Nika Diwa, or if you know me for covering true crime stories involving children, I thank you for being here. And if you're worried about the world we're leaving to our children, well then it looks like your algorithm brought you to the right place. I am a small and growing channel, so if you prefer this type of content over true crime, which is admittedly a bit more disturbing to hear about, then please make sure to like this video and leave me a little emoji in the comments so that I and the algorithm know exactly what you want to see. Like I said, Emilie Kiser lost her 3-year-old son about 4 months ago to drowning in their pool. She shared her daily life as a mother and a wife and had her son in her content pretty regularly. So when he passed away, millions of people knew about it. And for a while, Emilie rightfully stepped away from social media. Now, I'm not necessarily here today to say whether I think her returning to social media 4 months after losing her son is appropriate, but I am here to talk about some of the details of the case and what we're seeing from Emilie now that she's back, because while she's not revealing much, we can see a lot. Now, a parent losing their son is tragic, any way you spin it, and as a mother, I grieve with her, but the details of this case and what's happened since, I can't help but to feel there wasn't justice here. Yes, this was a loss, but this was a loss due to negligence. Her son drowned in their backyard pool, a pool that apparently many of her viewers kept telling her she needed a fence around, that not only was it not safe, but it was the law. She and her husband would come back and say that the pool had a net and a cover that they kept on it, but people kept pointing out that they never saw a cover or a net on the pool. Even when Emilie would show her morning routine and letting the dogs out first thing in the morning after waking up. So when that ended up being how her son passed away, after being told time and time again to get a pool fence, a lot of people came out of the woodworks and were saying, "We told you so. We told you this could happen." And how insensitive people were, I think, was kind of a mix of just the internet, but also just people being kind of angry because, they told you so. They told you needed a pool fence, that it was dangerous for your son, who they could see in some of her videos could open the door and get outside himself. And that's exactly what happened. And another added layer to this was when we found out that Emilie wasn't even home when this whole thing happened. Emilie, being pretty newly postpartum with their second child, decided to go out for lunch with some of her friends and left her toddler and her newborn at home with her husband, Brady. And as a mother, I think this just brings up anxiety anyway. No matter how much we trust our husbands or whoever we have watching our children, there's still those thoughts in the back of our mind, like especially one of the first times leaving your newborn, that anything could happen. And by some cruel twist of irony, just as Emilie was pulling into the parking lot to have lunch with her friends, her son was in a pool struggling for his life. The story we heard was that Emilie's husband, Brady, was tending to the infant and that their older son got outside, that he had gone into another room, was changing the baby's diaper, and couldn't have left him alone for more than 3 minutes. However, that would not turn out to be what police said actually happened. Police claimed that the toddler would have actually had to be left alone for at least 9 minutes, and that it was likely her husband actually knew he was outside when he went to tend to the baby. Police even recommended, based on the evidence, to charge Brady with a Class 4 felony, child abuse, but the state's prosecutor declined. It later came out that while the toddler was in the pool fighting for his life, her husband was on his phone betting on basketball. He was sports betting. And when this news came out, the public went crazy, demanding they see what really happened, demanding that he be accountable, demanding that there be some sort of justice for this. And look, I'm not one to say, you have to keep your eyes on your kids at all times. We all step away from our kids. We all get preoccupied. We're all scrolling on our phones half the time. So the fact that he was doing this, to me, in my mind, isn't the biggest deal. What bothers me about this case, and I think what bothers a lot of people about this case, is first of all, the fact that he lied or didn't really give all the information. And then two, Emilie was on a pursuit of, I don't even know what you would call it, but she sued multiple agencies in the state of Arizona so that no one could see the case details. No one has seen the footage of what happened to this toddler. I mean, rightfully so. I don't really think that we should be watching that, but we can't even see it. We can't hear the 911 call like typical cases. We can't see the police cam footage like typical cases. We can't see the case files like we could just look up with other cases. And it made the public, including myself, feel like they really had something to hide. And she justified all this by saying, if people were to see the footage, they would make these AI recreations. And she's not wrong. Like, that probably would happen, and there's no need for that. I think we should have respect for this child and for the family. And I think people are due some level of privacy, even though a lot of people don't agree with that, because she constantly showed her life and her child and basically everything online all the time and was monetizing that. And so now that something bad has happened and something doesn't frame you or your husband specifically in the best light, now you're asking for privacy. Now you're asking for the public to just kind of leave you alone, But when this came out that her husband lied about what actually happened, people said, no, you no longer have a right to privacy. We need to see what happened. The fact that the police thought there was enough to charge him in this case really says something. And people are wondering, well, why are they not prosecuting? Why is this not seen as negligent? Why, since there was no cover or no fence around the pool, even though that's the law, why is no one being held accountable for this? We're going to take a look at Emilie's first video back and some of her content. She's been very vague and very careful about what she presents. But viewers have noticed some things that would make you think that some changes have been made since the loss of her son. Let's see what you think.
Hi, you guys. Don't even really know what to say. I'm gonna be honest. It's been a minute since I've obviously come on here. Not gonna lie, I'm really nervous right now. I don't really know if there's any right way to start this video, but I'm gonna do my best. And just first off, want to say thank you if you're here. I have missed truly getting to just chat with you guys every day. I know that might sound silly to a lot of people, but I really do love this community that we have here. And I hope that in coming back and sharing a little bit of what I choose to, I can reconnect with you guys and hopefully help anyone who is maybe going through a similar situation. I have obviously been offline for the last little bit. I'm just doing my best every day to figure this out, figure my life out. So I'm just taking it day by day. I'm going to do the same thing with my content, just take it day by day. Obviously, you guys know that the last few months have been really, really hard. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and act like things are fine and dandy. And I don't want it to come off that way with me coming back and making content again. This is really therapeutic for me. I miss talking to you guys, but obviously I don't know what that's going to fully look like. I don't know how much I'm going to be willing to share, especially about my grief journey. The last thing I want to do is honestly put myself in a position where I'm sharing too much or I'm not ready to share stuff and I share it. And the last thing I want to do is get on the internet and cry and say every single way that I'm feeling, because I'm really just trying to process everything as best as I can day by day. But there are so many things that I do want to talk about, especially with my platform, and I want to talk to you guys about. I'm just not ready right now. I don't know when I'll be ready. But if you are going through anything similar, I just want to say that I love you and I'm here for you and I understand how hard it is. So yeah, just want to get some of that off my chest. But I have some time right now, so we're gonna reset this house for the week ahead. I'm excited to do so. It always feels good going into the week with a clean home, and let's go and let's clean together. And if you want to watch me clean, then keep watching. I just finished mopping the whole house. So first I did a marble and limestone solution, and then I used a different solution for all of my wood floor. So let's see what we got. Bye guys.
First of all, that is literally the cleanest house I've ever seen. I don't know, that's not even a reset to me. There was nothing to reset. Everything was already so pristine. She just did the dishes. That was the only thing that really needed to be done. And she made her bed. But with that being said, specifically about the bed, people are noticing that they don't think that Brady is home, her husband. They don't believe that Brady is still living there, that there are basically no signs of life other than Emilie and the little baby. People have pointed out how the dishes really only add up to one person. A lot of the things that they saw of Brady's that were there before are not there now. And then you have this scene where she's making the bed. If you notice, the other side of the bed is already tucked in like no one had slept there. And we could say, well, maybe she just cropped out the part where she tucked that under, and that's very true. And you could also point out that she is wearing a wedding band. But if you watch any more of her content, this was her first video back. If you watch her content since then, sometimes she's not wearing her wedding band. While some viewers are speculating Emilie and Brady are no longer together, or at least not living in the same house at the moment, others are saying she may just be keeping him out of the content because of the backlash that he has received. And my overall opinion on this case is that this was a tragedy and it was an accident. I don't think that Brady was negligent just because he was on his phone or because he wasn't, keeping an eye on their son. I mean, how many times have we seen videos where a parent walks into the room and their toddler has gotten a hold of a Sharpie and drawn all over themselves and the walls and the cabinets and the floors? We have all left our young children unattended for, a few minutes and things have gone awry. This just happened to be the absolute worst case scenario. Now, what I do think they should be held accountable for is the fact that they were warned so many times about the pool fence, yet they still neglected to get one. And it ultimately cost their son his life. So do I think that Brady should be in jail? Do I think that he should serve time for this? I don't know. I go back and forth, I think, because ultimately his son did lose his life and it was due to negligence on some part. But at the same time, I don't know if it deserves jail time. I don't know. It's hard. Let me know what you think down in the comments because I really go back and forth. And as far as if Emilie and Brady are still together, I wouldn't blame her if she doesn't want to be with her husband. It would be difficult to even look at him. It would be difficult to trust him. It would be difficult to, just forgive, It was her first time out being postpartum from what we heard, and he allowed this to happen. Whether it was an accident, it still happened on his watch, and it would be really difficult to look at him. I don't know how she's even living in that house on a daily basis and keeping her sanity. I do hope the best for both of them, truly. And unfortunately, content is her job. And could she get sell her house and get a smaller house and get a regular job? Sure, she could. But only time will tell. Only time will tell of what will happen to this family. Again, like I said, let me know what you think down in the comments. Please keep it as respectful as you can. Keep in mind, a child did lose their life, and it's just so heartbreaking for everyone involved. If you're still here, I thank you for watching. And if you are worried about the world we're leaving to our children, it looks like your algorithm brought you to the right place. And if you care about keeping kids safe online and in real life, then please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to support me in that mission. See you in the next one.